I'm so happy to have you here. You have a fantastic new podcast out called Science Rules.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about something close to my heart.
Your buttons.
It is my buttons. Okay.
Your wristwatch.
I forget. This is you're a man who notices everything. You understand?
Not everything, but I saw the buttons on the shirt. Not that I have tremendous respect for you as a person, but it's not really my thing.
That's fair. I think we would hit it off. I want to talk about space.
That's my thing. That is my thing.
It's an exciting thing. So I did this whole season of doing a show. I go out into America. I've covered a lot of movements, a lot of actions, and we hit a point where they're like, "What is something where I can drop any cynicism?" Because when you go out into the world, there's a lot of cynicism. There's a lot of fighting.
There is. Oh,
yes.
right.
Yeah. And what I found was where I'm not cynical and I still have this sense of wonder is it's still based in my childhood desire to go to space and then America to be an astronaut. And I got to talk to a lot of people about this. And the big question was, are we going to go to Mars?
That is a good question.
And what do you think? Are we going to go to Mars?
So we at the Planetary Society, world's largest independent space interest organization, did a study. We could get people orbiting Mars in 2033 without increasing the NASA budget if you just decided to do it. And the best or cheapest way to do it would be to have what we call international cooperation, where one country builds this, the other country builds, or one agency builds this, the other agency builds that. And you could do it, but it takes overcoming this tremendous inertia in every presidential administration. See, what people lose sight of, and the Apollo 11 film is out, the new documentary.
It's amazing.
It's cool. It really is gorgeous. I mean, it's amazing. It's just beautiful.
It looks like it was filmed by Stanley Kubrick. It's so gorgeous how it's...
So that's an interesting thing, not changing the subject. 2001, if you're picking science fiction movies, came the closest anybody's ever come. But that aside, what people forget, reckoned in 2019 dollars, the Apollo program cost about $151 billion with a B. So when you say we're going to increase the NASA budget from $21 billion to $22.6 billion, that's good, but it's not on the same scale. And then people say, well, we have all these launch pads built and all this infrastructure, 10 NASA centers around the country, but it's just not the same. The scale of it's a factor of 6 that we're missing.
Should we invest that much into the space program? Is the idea of going to Mars, do you think that would have the benefits that, say, Apollo 11 had?
Well, everybody remember, the Apollo program was the Cold War. That's what motivated it. You can say, well, it's for science, for exploration, for humankind has the desire to reach farther and deeper into space and to know the cosmos, which is true. But it was to beat the Ruskies, at that time, our enemies. Our enemy.
Yeah, as opposed to our collaborators.
Yes, yeah, and our election ballot correctors. And so the scale of it is what I think a lot of people lose sight of. 5% increase in the NASA budget is great. And NASA's not the only game in town. By in town, I mean on Earth. European Space Agency is quite large. Canadians have a space agency. Vietnam has a space agency. South Africa has a space agency because everybody realizes the value of weather prediction, situational awareness, aka spying, and communications, where you can broadcast or send information from one side of your country to the other. It's of great value. Space exploration has changed the world. And there are 2 questions, Jordan, that we all ask.
Give them to me.
Where did we come from?
I've asked it.
Where did we come? What the heck are we doing? And then, are we alone? Are we alone in the universe?
Do you think we get that if we go to Mars?
Well, here's what is very reasonable. Is Mars had something alive, and it may still, because Mars is smaller than the Earth, so out there in the icy blackness of space, it cooled off faster than the Earth, about 1 billion years sooner than the Earth. You can get something done in 1 billion years, all I'm saying. And it had an atmosphere and an ocean before the Earth. Did life start on Mars before it started on Earth? Maybe, who knows? And so there's a hypothesis, which is fantastic, that Mars was hit with an impactor.
A dinosaur? Is that like a raptor of sorts?
Well, no, like asteroid.
Oh, like Armageddon again.
Yes.
Again, one of the most scientifically accurate film you're ever going to see.
And then, through a Hohmann orbit, these things came to Earth. You can buy Mars rocks online if you're motivated.
And they're actual Mars rocks?
Yeah,
You don't fall for this, Bill.
No. They land on Earth. No. So you look at the composition and the shock pattern in the rock, and then the other thing, you take it to Huntsville, Alabama, crack it open in a vacuum, and the little bubbles of gas come out that match the Martian atmosphere. So these are Mars rocks. And there's an area, I've not been, but in Antarctica, people call the budget space probe, because you're walking along dressed warmly, and there are rocks on top of the ice. Now, the ice is kilometers, miles thick. The only way for the rocks to get there is from space. So the Earth is hit with several, I guess estimates vary, 100,000 tons of dust every day, of interstellar dust, of asteroid bits. And so if life started on Mars, are we descendants of Martians? Is a cool question, a fantastic question.
That's a fun question.
It really is. So we could send, now I'm at the Planetary Society. I took a class from Carl Sagan. I understand that I was brought up with this tradition, but I would like us to design robots, rovers, perfectly tuned for looking for Martian microbes. And the Mars 2020 rover, which doesn't have a whimsical or charming, engaging name yet, has instruments on it that will advance this a little bit. But I like to have a focused effort. The reason to send people is, first of all, it's just cool. It's just inspirational. The Soviet Union was driving around on the moon trying to bring moon rocks back before humans did. But when you get people there, that's when everybody goes wild. And so it's also estimated, just technically, that what our best rovers, our best science instruments, robotic science instruments on Mars can do in a week, a human geologist could do in about a minute, or certainly less than 5 minutes.
Why is that? Just because the human instinct is going to know what to look for, essentially?
And actually literally move quicker and don't have this remote problem of a 7-minute radio delay. So you put in artificial intelligence to have it drive around rocks and stuff, but looking for rocks and knocking them open and finding out what's inside, a human just has judgment. So it would just be something else to find a layer of fossilized bacteria on Mars, or Mars probes, as I like to call them. And what if there's something still alive under the sand? You know, wherever there's dampness on Earth, there's something alive. People throw around numbers. You know, there's 1 million viruses on your face. And so
those are the worst people, by the way.
Well, we have immune systems for most of them. So it would really be extraordinary. And I claim it would change the course of history. It would be like Copernicus showing, well, if you really are proving that if you really want to find where Jupiter is in the night sky, you ought to think of Jupiter going around the sun, not the other way around. And, oh, no, we can't publish that. We'd have to kill you. And then Galileo, you know, I took this military telescope, you know, which they had for looking at the guys on the other hill before you shot your arrows at them or whatever your Game of Thrones thing you were doing. But he took it and looked at the moon. Hey, the moon's not really a perfect circle. It's full of, well, you can't leave the house for the rest of your life. Okay? But it changed the world. It changed the way everybody thought about being alive. And I claim that a discovery of life on Mars would just change the world. The other logical places are Europa, the moon of Jupiter, with twice as much ocean water as Earth. And then Titan, this moon of Saturn, which has great promise. It has geysers that squirt into space. And so this kind of exploration is done for a song. Planetary science at NASA is $2 billion a year, 2-point-something billion dollars a year. That's a lot of money, but it's not that much money. At European Space Agency, it's a third of that or a tenth of that. It's still a huge amount of money, but compared to what the federal budget is, or a European 16-country budget is nothing. And it could change the course of history. So that's what we advocate for at the Planetary Society.
What do you think? So as I'm somebody who's not the largest fan of our commander-in-chief.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I've heard you mention that.
He's done some things. He might not be the best president we've ever had. Now,
really?
I don't. It's a outlandish opinion that a comedian has. But I'm not a big Trump fan. One thing he did say, which which was comical in its assertion, but I was inspired by it, was he talks about going to Mars as a vanity project. And he said he would throw as much money as anybody needed to get there if we could get there before the next election, which is fast.
He wanted to go to the moon.
He wanted to go to the moon
4.5 years.
Yes.
All right. And so, by the way, out there in the world of space explorers, there's moon people and Mars people. We must go to the moon to learn to live in space. It's a proving ground. And then other people, you don't need to go to the moon. Let's go to Mars. We waste time at the moon. The moon has a lot of gravity. So if you land on the moon, you have to build a big rocket to get back off the moon, blah, blah, blah.
And are those two separate camps?
They really are, yeah. Fist fights in the exploration bar. Yeah. But going to the moon in 4.5 years sounds like a cool thing. And, it would mean ignoring spending caps, which Congress has been more than willing to do. So, okay, but they just had a big announcement of adding $1.6 billion to the NASA budget, that's good. 5% is good. At the planetary side, we've advocated for 5% for a long time, but it's not on the scale of Apollo. And the other problem that has to be solved, you guys, for political reasons, the whole thing is based on the Space Launch System, the SLS, which is a rocket. It's another name for a big rocket being built in Rocket City, Huntsville, Alabama. And it's built there because a lot of rockets were built there over the years. That's where Wernher von Braun lived for a long time. And meanwhile, everybody hears about SpaceX and Blue Origins, Jeff Bezos' company. They're going to do stuff on their own. But all of the capsules and docking things and hardware and this proposed lunar gateway, and gateway is a whimsical term for another spacecraft that would be in orbit around the moon, the way the International Space Station is in orbit around the Earth. These are all based on this diameter and this system and these electrical connectors associated with the Space Launch System. So you can't just go get hardware. It's not like you go on the internet and get another rocket booster that happens to fit. It's just not like that. So the political problems are very difficult. And then the money. And the proposal was to get the $1.6 billion from Pell grants. Okay. See, the Pell Grant money is set aside. Some of it's not spent. Okay, but you guys, it's as they say, bad optics.
It's an absurd idea to ask for the amount of money it would take to push us to a place like Mars. Do you need somebody who has absurd-like thinking, like a Donald Trump, or somebody who has...
Or Elon Musk. Yeah.
What's it? Or an Elon Musk? Do you need somebody who's crazy to set the sights that far?
Well, or you need just the Chinese Space Administration to decide they're going to the moon.
So we just need competition.
That's what happened last time. Everybody, just keep in mind, when you watch the movie, it was the Cold War. That's why all that stuff got done.
So we just need to get rid of the fact that China landed on the far side of the moon, the dark side of the moon.
It's not really dark.
It's not dark?
Only, it's the far side.
That's not. I listened to a very specific Led Zeppelin album, and
I think it was Pink Floyd.
Armageddon. Have you seen Armageddon?
It was Pink Floyd, not Led Zeppelin.
I'm kind of a man who's sticky about his facts, and it was a Led Zeppelin album. Yeah, Led Zeppelin album made it very clear that there's a dark side.
You're sticking to the wrong mirror.
The dark side of the moon.
So the moon is far side of the moon is dark half the month.
Right. That's the first part of the album. What do you think? What do you think of Elon Musk? What do you think of all of the private billionaires trying to get there?
I've had lunch with Elon Musk. I gave him a ride to the airport once. He's not my best friend or anything, but he is a motivated guy.
Wait. You gave him a ride to the airport?
Yeah. No, I'm the head of the planetary side. I travel in this little world.
You're a cool guy. I'm not saying you don't have the legitimacy to do it. I'm saying as a man who owns a car company.
Well, this is before his car company was especially huge.
He's like, I'm working on a car company. Could you give me a ride?
Yeah, that's how it went, man. I took him from a restaurant in Santa Monica, California to LAX. This is a long time ago, but it's a true fact, not a false fact. Not a Conwaysian fact.
He seems like an inspiring guy.
Man, he's
big
a
dreams.
visionary.
Yeah.
But he is, he's odd. his relationship to the Securities and Exchange Commission is not one I would not embrace.
Did you give him much advice on the financial end?
No. But I just wouldn't mess with them. No need to mess with them.
When you look at Blue Origin, Richard Branson is playing around in the game, Elon Musk with SpaceX. Are any of those, do you feel, the next step to getting to a place like getting back to the moon or getting to Mars?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So, you guys, the Falcon rockets are fantastic. The SpaceX rockets are fantastic. So we had an analysis at the Planetary Society that, SpaceX couldn't break even on this reusable booster. You know, this is where the rocket goes up and then lands again, either at Cape Canaveral on a parking lot or on this drone ship, a motorized barge. Not a barge, it's a drone ship. Okay. So, it's a big thing with them. So, in other words, you recover most of the booster. And we said, he'd never break even unless they got to 30 a year. Well, they're kind of getting to 30 a year. And it's just long-term investment, and that vision is just really something. So at the Planetary Society, just if I may remind you, we're going to be launching our second solar sail spacecraft no earlier than, that's NASA talk, NET, no earlier than the 22nd of June, Saturday the 22nd. Come on down. You can sit in the bleachers with me. I know a guy. You can get a seat.
You can get me a seat?
I can get you a seat, and it really is spectacular. It's amazing. There's everything shakes, your hair shakes, your eyes shake, and the thing goes up and it goes over the top, as we say. It turns and goes into orbit. And then these two boosters come down and land like science fiction. It's just amazing. Mm-hmm. And so bear in mind, everybody, that SpaceX is competing with NASA. Not really. NASA buys rockets from SpaceX. And this quotation has been attributed to a couple different people, but I remember it as being Alan Shepard. And if it's not Alan Shepard, I apologize. But he's walking on the moon, and he says, it's good to realize that we came here on hardware built by the lowest bidder. It's just a charming turn of phrase. Along this line, all the money that's spent in space is really spent on Earth. NASA buys rockets from these guys. That's how they stay in business. The Air Force spends a lot of money on rockets. If you're in this world, there are an extraordinary number of rocket launches every month that most of us just aren't aware of. Military, all these communication satellites, weather satellites, and many of them, might even be most of them, are commercial. Most of them are commercial, yeah.
I sat down with Scott Kelly and talked a little bit about the overview effect.
The overview effect. Apparently astronauts get in space and they get wigged out at how beautiful the Earth is, no political boundaries. We're all in this together, get over it. It's cool.
It's kind of a nice thing. I think when you look at the political landscape right now and hear about that kind of perspective, you yearn for something like that. And it would be pretty fun to go to space.
So I applied to be an astronaut 4 times, but it was a different era. How many PhDs do you have? 100 to 300. It's like, who are you? How many marathons have you run this week? It's just like, who are these guys and gals? They're just overachieving maniacs. More power to them.
And maybe we need those kinds of smart people on Earth to help out as well.
So engineers, renewable electricity, clean water, access to the internet, solve the air transportation problem. Let's go. Let's get her done.
Let's get her done. Also, subscribe to Science Rules.
Stitcher mid-roll, Mitcher Stidroll, Stitcher mid-roll. Turn it up loud. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Bill Nye. If you like listening to this podcast, you're going to like watching it even more. So go check out Klepper. It's on all of your devices, including your television. Go check it out. Thank you for listening.